Hey, I need to tell you about something that happened to me not long ago, but it still feels like yesterday. You know those moments that just cling to you, the ones you try to shove to the back of your mind, but they sneak up on you, especially when the house is quiet and you're all alone. I was 16. My parents had gone out for the night. Nothing unusual. They left me home by myself, which I'd done plenty of times before. But this time, something felt off right from the start. The house was too quiet. Not peaceful quiet, the kind that sits heavy on your chest, like the air itself is holding its breath. I was in my room, just mindlessly scrolling on my phone, when I heard it. At first, I thought I imagined it. Just a whisper, soft, almost like wind brushing past the window. But then, I heard the words, "I'm coming inside." My whole body locked up. I blinked hard, trying to shake it off. Maybe it was a branch tapping the glass, or the wind playing tricks, but no. The voice was real, clear, cold. My heart started hammering, so loud I was sure whoever was out there could hear it too. I grabbed my phone and called my parents. It rang, connected for half a second, then died. I tried again, nothing. No signal. No help then. Footsteps, slow, heavy, moving down the hallway. Getting closer, closer, I pressed myself flat against the wall, barely breathing. My forehead was slick with sweat. I didn't move, didn't blink, and then they stopped, right outside my door. I didn't look. COULDN, single quotes, TOs, seconds, stretched like hours. Then a sound, fingernails dragging, light, against the wood. I wanted to scream, but my throat just closed up suddenly. The hallway light flickered. That's when I moved. I snatched my baseball bat, the closest thing I could reach, and crept to the door. Peeked through the crack. Nothing, no one. I bolted to the window, yanked back the curtain. And there it was, taped to the outside glass. A note, 3 words, "I'm always watching you." After that, it's all a blur. I called my parents again. This time they picked up, came racing home. Police showed up too, but they found nothing. No footprints. No broken locks. No signs anyone had even been there. Just the note. I still don't know who did it, or why. And sometimes, late at night, when the house is still and I'm alone, I swear I hear that whisper again. That kind of fear. It doesn't fade. The worst part, not knowing if they're still out there, watching, waiting. I want to share something that happened to me a while ago. It's one of those nights you never forget, the kind that makes you question what's real and what's just your mind playing tricks. I was home alone, just me, the quiet house, and the night settling in like a heavy blanket. It started out normal enough. I'd been working late, and my parents were out of town for the weekend. I was supposed to just relax, maybe watch some TV, but instead, well, things got weird. I remember it was around 10 p.m. The house was dark except for the soft glow of my phone screen. I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through messages, when I heard it, a faint knocking. At first, I thought it was just the wind or maybe the old pipes settling. But then I realized it was coming from the basement door. Now this basement door is old. It's a heavy wooden door at the bottom of the stairs, and it's always locked. My parents keep the key, and I don't have it. So, hearing knocking from behind that door was unsettling. I tried to ignore it at first, told myself it was nothing, but the knocking didn't stop. It got louder, more insistent, like someone was trying to get out, or maybe trying to get in. I stood up, heart starting to race, and walked over to the door. The hallway was dim, and I grabbed my phone to use the flashlight. I knelt down and peered under the door. That's when I saw it. A small handprint, pressed slowly against the wood, like someone was pushing from the inside. It was pale, almost translucent in the light. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. I whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. Just the sound of my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Then the door creaked open, slowly, by itself. I stumbled back, dropping my phone. The screen went black dot, and then I heard it. A voice, soft, chilling, barely a whisper. "You're not alone." I didn't stay to find out what happened next. I ran upstairs, locked every door, and called my parents. They told me to call the police, but I was too scared. I just sat in my room, shaking, until morning. The weirdest part, when the police came, they found no sign of anyone in the basement. No footprints, no handprints, nothing. The door was locked from the inside, but no one was there. I still don't know what I saw that night, or who was knocking. I guess that's the thing about being home alone at night. You think you're safe. You think it's just silence and shadows. But sometimes, it's not. There's another story I want to share. It's from a friend of mine. Let's call her Emily. She had a similar experience, but hers was different. Emily was living in an old apartment downtown. She was alone one night, just like me. She was getting ready for bed when she heard footsteps in the hallway outside her door. Slow, deliberate steps. But when she looked through the peephole, no one was there. She locked the door and tried to brush it off. But then the footsteps started again, louder this time, and then scratching, like nails scraping against the wood. Emily said she felt frozen. She didn't want to open the door, but she could hear whispering, faint, almost like a lullaby. She described it as the creepiest sound she'd ever heard, soft, but filled with something wrong. She called me the next day, voice shaking, and said she didn't sleep at all. The scratching stopped only when she left the apartment the next morning. What's strange is the building's history. Apparently, years ago, a child had died in that hallway. No one ever explained how, but since then, tenants reported hearing footsteps and whispers late at night. I don't know if Emily's story is true or just a scary urban legend, but hearing it made me think about what might be lurking just beyond the door when we're alone. I guess what I'm trying to say is, being home alone at night can feel safe, but sometimes it's the quiet moments that are the most terrifying. When you hear a knock, or a whisper, or footsteps that don't belong to anyone you know, it shakes something inside you. I still get chills thinking about that basement door, the handprint, the voice, and the way my phone died right after, like it didn't want me to see what was happening. Sometimes I wonder if it was a warning, or maybe a reminder that some doors are better left closed. I want to tell you about something that happened to me a while ago. It's one of those nights that just sticks with you. You know the kind when you're alone and everything feels normal, but then something shifts. Just a little. And suddenly, you realize you're not as alone as you thought. So, I was living in this small apartment, just me and my dog, Max. I'm a single mum in my 20s, juggling work and taking care of my little girl. That night, my daughter was staying with her dad. So it was just me and Max. The apartment was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like the walls are holding their breath. I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone, when Max suddenly stiffened. He was lying next to me, but then he sat up, ears perked, and started growling low and slow. His eyes were fixed on the closet door across the room. I thought maybe he heard a mouse or something. He's always been a little jumpy. So I told him, "It's okay, buddy. Nothing's there." But he didn't stop. The growling got louder, more urgent. I tried to shake it off, but then I heard it. A faint cough, like someone trying not to be heard. It came from inside the closet. My heart just dropped. I froze for a second, trying to convince myself it was just my imagination. But Max was still growling, and the cough came again. This time, clearer. I wasn't crazy. I grabbed the kitchen knife from the counter, the only thing I could think of, and slowly walked toward the closet. My hands were shaking, and I could feel my breath coming out in short, sharp bursts. I whispered to Max, "Stay close." I called 911 with my free hand, whispering to the operator about the situation. They told me to stay calm and wait for the police, but waiting felt impossible. Every second stretched out like an eternity. I stood there, knife in hand, staring at the closet door. The cough came again, and then I heard a shuffling sound, like someone moving around, trying to stay quiet but failing. The police arrived quickly. I let them in, and they searched the apartment. When they opened the closet door, they found a man, a stranger, crouched inside, holding a bag with some of my belongings. He looked disheveled, like he hadn't slept in days. Turns out, he'd been living in the crawl space beneath the apartment for who knows how long. He'd sneak out at night, hiding in the shadows, stealing things, watching me. The police arrested him, but even after that, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still watching me. I started checking every corner of my apartment before I went to bed. I'd look under the bed, behind the curtains, even inside the closet, just to make sure. Max never stopped growling at that closet door, even weeks later, sometimes late at night. I swear I hear faint noises, a cough, a shuffle, but when I look, there's nothing there, just shadows. I don't know if he ever really left. And honestly, I don't think I want to find out. I want to tell you about something that happened to me not long ago. It's one of those stories that still makes my skin crawl, even now, when I'm safe and sound. It's about being home alone, really alone, and feeling like you're not so. I'm Sarah, I'm 22, and I just moved into my very first solo apartment in Chicago. It's a small place, nothing fancy, but it's mine. I was excited, honestly. The kind of excited where you're imagining all the cozy nights, the quiet mornings, and the freedom to do whatever you want without anyone else around. The first few nights were normal. I unpacked, watched some TV, and fell asleep without a problem. But then, on the third night, something changed. It was around 3 a.m. I woke up suddenly, not from a nightmare, but from this heavy feeling, like something was wrong. My body was frozen, but not in that sleepy, half-awake way. It was pure, paralyzing fear. I couldn't move, couldn't even scream. And then I heard it. I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't just breathing. It was wet, like someone had been running or crying or maybe something else. It was close. Too close. I didn't dare move. I just lay there, heart pounding so loud I thought it might burst. I told myself it was my imagination, or maybe the pipes, or the wind outside. But it didn't sound like any of those things. After what felt like forever, I finally found the courage to reach for the lamp on my bedside table. My hand trembled as I flicked it on. Nothing, the corner was empty. Just the shadows of my furniture, the same as always. I tried to convince myself it was a trick of the mind. Maybe I was just tired or stressed from the move. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me the next night. I was determined to prove to myself it was nothing. I went to bed early, tried to keep my mind busy with a podcast. But then, again, around 3 a.m., the breathing started. Only this time, it was closer. Right next to my bed, I froze again. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to know, but the sound was so clear, so real. I whispered to myself, it's just the building settling. It's just the building settling. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. On the third night, I was exhausted. I barely slept. But when I woke up, something caught my eye. There, tucked under my pillow, was a folded note. I didn't remember putting it there with shaking hands. I unfolded it. It said, I came to sleep beside you. I don't think I've ever felt so cold in my life. I called the police right away. They came, checked the apartment, looked for signs of forced entry. But there was nothing. No footprints, no broken locks, no evidence anyone had been inside. I started digging into the building's history, and that's when I found out something chilling. 5 years earlier, a young woman was murdered in my exact unit. The killer was never caught, and the coroner's report, the victim, suffocated. I don't know if it was her, or something else, but every night since, I've heard the breathing. Sometimes it's far away, sometimes it's right next to me, and sometimes when I wake up, I find little notes. I don't know what they say yet. I'm too scared to open them. I keep telling myself it's just my mind playing tricks, that I'm safe, that I'm alone, but I'm not sure anymore. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you ever find yourself home alone and you hear something you can't explain, don't ignore it, because sometimes the scariest thing isn't what you see, it's what's breathing right beside you in the dark. Thanks for listening. Stay safe out there, and don't forget to like and subscribe.